In every sport, there comes a time when a figure emerges who redefines greatness and surpasses even the legends who preceded them, leaving an indelible mark on the game.
And this is Bird. And it goes.
In the 1980s, Bird and Magic stood as the pillars of basketball, elevating the game throughout the decade. But even among these icons, an even greater legend emerged.
MJ. Oh, he did it! Michael J. Allez, faut continuer à les voler les ballons. Et ce diable de Curry qui nous fait mal.
These players dominated the best of the best, and just when it seemed they had reached their peak, they would deliver performances so legendary that the only explanation was that they were possessed by the basketball gods. Applause.
Caitlin Clark.
In 2023, Caitlin Clark's rise to stardom was undeniable, with her name spreading like wildfire across the entire basketball universe.
Clark sings it all. That's a ridiculous pass that she makes look so casual. Clark will fire, and it's in! The walking highlight reel. Caitlin Clark has 21 points and 7 assists in this half.
We're talking 40-point games, triple-doubles, and leading the entire women's college basketball scene in both points and assists. Her numbers were otherworldly, like a glitch in the Matrix. But on March 26, 2023, something unimaginable unfolded. It was the Elite Eight of March Madness, the deepest Caitlin had ever ventured in the NCAA tournament and the brightest stage of her career thus far. Anyone would have been nervous. Sure, it wasn't the championship, but it was uncharted territory for her. A moment big enough to make anyone pause and realize just how much was at stake. Little did Caitlin know that on this cool spring day, she wasn't just about to play another game. This was the day she would transcend from a rising superstar into a basketball god.
Van Lith thought about it, will pull from 2, and it's in! Haley!
In 2021, during Caitlin Clark's freshman year, her journey ended in the Sweet 16 against the heavily favored UConn Huskies, led by standout star Paige Bueckers. In 2022, during her sophomore year, Caitlin's season came to a shocking end in the round of 32 when Creighton, a 10th-seeded underdog, stunned the nation by upsetting the second seed, dashing Caitlin's hopes for a deeper tournament run. By 2023, Caitlin conquered the ghosts of her first 2 seasons, breaking through to the prestigious Elite Eight. There, she faced the Louisville Cardinals, led by Hailey Van Lith, a fiercely competitive guard known for her March Madness prowess. Hailey, another rising star with deep basketball roots, had once been named the nation's top high school guard and ranked as the second-best player in her class. Just a year earlier, she had guided her team to the Final Four, accomplishing what Caitlin Clark had yet to achieve. Still, Caitlin and Iowa entered the game as favorites, boasting a 29-6 record, though Louisville wasn't far behind with a solid 26-11 season. It all came down to this single game where, as Caitlin had painfully learned the year before, anything could happen in the unpredictable world of sports. Underdogs could shock the best, and this matchup was anyone's for the taking. The stage was set, and the world eagerly awaited the outcome. The game began with a barrage from Louisville, led by their star, Hailey Van Lith, who fueled her team's fast start with 8 quick points.
Now quickly,
Clark connects on a 3, 7 straight from Caitlin Clark.
I can't read minds, but I'd bet that in those early moments, Caitlin Clark knew one thing. If her team was going to win and advance in this tournament, she would have to be nothing short of extraordinary. And that's exactly what she did. After falling behind by 8, Caitlin put on her Superwoman cape and ignited a comeback, scoring 7 straight points to cut the deficit to just 1.
Sue Bird finally getting to watch Caitlin Clark in person.
Sue Bird, a legend at Climate Pledge Arena, and often mistakenly thought to be Larry Bird's daughter despite no relation, was also in the crowd, getting her first ever up-close look at Caitlin Clark's talent.
Did you see all the defensive attention that went to Caitlin Clark off of that on-ball screen?
Sue Bird was impressed too. Sure, this wasn't a Golden State Warriors game, and Caitlin Clark isn't Steph Curry, but come on, the comparisons are undeniable. Just look at the way Clark commands attention, drawing defenders toward her with the same gravity as number 30 himself.
The Stars flourishing early.
Yeah, they've come to play. Haley Van Lith, Caitlin Clark combining for 13 points.
Anyway, up to this point, the game had been an absolute spectacle, with stars from both Louisville and Iowa putting on a show.
And oh my! Caitlin Clark, a showstopper!
If it seemed like Caitlin Clark was already on fire, the truth is she was only warming up for the volcanic eruption to come.
I just want Steph Curry, man. So going with Steph Curry. Okay.
The energy in the arena was electric, and it was clear this was a game destined to be one for the ages. I mean, just look, Caitlin Clark was pulling up from 3 feet beyond the arc. It's no surprise NBA players were comparing her to Steph Curry.
That pass looked relatively easy. That is a tough pass to make on the money.
Anyway, the Iowa superstar showed no signs of slowing down, relentlessly attacking and doing it all on the court.
A 9-0 Iowa run. Clark, the engine driving it.
By that point, it was obvious to everyone in the arena that Caitlin Clark woke up that morning and chose violence.
Points of the game for Iowa that were not scored or assisted on by Caitlin Clark.
As the second quarter began, Caitlin Clark was far beyond warmed up, dropping her 18th point of the game. By now, Louisville knew they had to get the ball out of her hands, so they threw double teams at her every time she touched it. Unfortunately, that only played into her hands, opening up the floor for her to dish out perfect passes and set her teammates up with prime scoring opportunities. Now, take a look at this bucket from the 7:44 mark of the second quarter. At first glance, it seems like just another regular basket. But believe it or not, this was the first time in the game that Iowa scored without Caitlin Clark, either making the shot or delivering the assist.
Clark will fire and hit! The walking highlight reel, Caitlin Clark.
What's even crazier, though, is that Caitlin Clark still managed to notch the hockey assist on this play. No matter what Louisville threw at her, double teams or not, they simply couldn't contain her. To them, she was unstoppable. Louisville's Swiders head coach, Jeff Walls, was visibly frustrated as his team struggled to slow her down. But honestly, what can you even say to your players when Caitlin is out there doing things like this?
Cameraman got hit there after the bucket.
What's even crazier, though, is that Caitlin Clark still managed to notch the hockey assist on this play. No matter what Louisville threw at her, double teams or not, they simply couldn't contain her. To them, she was unstoppable. Louisville's Swiders head coach, Jeff Walls, was visibly frustrated as his team struggled to slow her down. But honestly, what can you even say to your players when Caitlin is out there doing things like this?
33 points, 8 rebounds, 10 assists, and 4 steals for Caitlin Clark, who continues to pen new chapters in college basketball history.
In just one quarter, Caitlin Clark turned a close 1-point game into a commanding 20-point lead. All anyone could do was sit back and watch the Golden Girl put on a performance for the ages.
To set up their press, that's why it's called.
Clark gets hit on the pass.
Then came the grand finale in the fourth quarter, where Caitlin unleashed her inner Game 6 clay, leaving everyone absolutely speechless. By this point, Louisville knew their chances were slipping away, so they shifted gears, trying to slow Caitlin down with more physical play.
There has never been a 30-point triple-double in the NCAA tournament.
Caitlin didn't respond with physicality because her focus was locked in. It was about more than just the win. There was something greater within reach.